Yeah, so definitely today we are having issues, but let's try and see if we can work with this phoning in. And yeah. Hey, Gloria, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? So I'm waiting for Gloria to respond to say whether or not she can hear me. Gloria, can you hear me? And can you hear our guest?
Hello.
Hello. Perfect. Oh, perfect. They can hear. We are on. Now I'm excited. I mean, we've had such difficulties trying to get on, and
it's all happened because you didn't introduce me. That's why.
You know. Yes, she can hear perfectly. I am ecstatic. So I'm so glad that we can actually have this. So today's live is slightly different. You know, we're always trying new things. We're always trying to see what works, what doesn't. You know, like we did say, this is new, this is different, and we're just gonna try everything else as we can to see what is it that we can get right out of this. So, you know, I'm so excited about our guest today. She's just one of those people who has so much energy, but her aura is just one of those, like, you just cannot smile when you meet Rhulani. It's like one of those, every time you see her, and I don't think there's anyone who can say, you know, they haven't gotten that radiance out of her. She's just amazing. She has been screaming her lungs out to everybody during the lockdown to say, please stay home, please stay safe, please just take care of yourself. She's been trying to teach people how to put on their mask. She's updating every single day about who's doing what, the stats. I'm like, oh my goodness. I look at her and I'm like, this lady is super dedicated to our nation, and she really wants the best for everyone. And you know what? If they talk about beauty with brains, I mean, I'm super excited. You know, she is not just a typical medical technologist. She's always super fly, you know, like, I'm just like, where do you shop? I think you're probably gonna have to answer that question today, because I am curious and I want to know, because really, honestly, it's just super amazing to just be in your presence, and I really am grateful. So Rhulani is a technical trainer at one of the private labs at this moment, and she specializes in microbiology. I mean, this is a subject a lot of us dreaded in university. You know, it's just one of those things where you're like, hey, micro, why is this thing so difficult? But, you know, she makes it easy for everyone, and I hope today we're going to be schooled. You know, so, wow, Rhulani, how have you been?
Hi. Oh, my gosh, after such a huge introduction, it's like big boots that I need to fill, because I think you've given me a couple of sizes extra big shoes to fill, you know. But yeah, I've been good. I've been well.
Wow.
And hi to everybody who, unfortunately, I can't see anybody, but I'm here in audio, so I think that will do for today.
Absolutely.
I've been well, Leah. How have you been doing?
Oh, no, I'm so far, I'm really excited. I mean, we're doing a whole trial and error here where, you know, we're just trying to get the message out there about medical technology. But we're having like technical issues, we're having all sorts of things, but you know what? The message is too good to allow technical issues to stand in our way, and you know what? We will learn with time, we will get it right, and yeah, man. So I'm really excited. So if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and how did you end up as a technical trainer?
My gosh. Okay, Rhulani, born and bred in Pretoria, so she'll move it to be specific. So, Kingwanyana.
Giddy blog or giddy unit. What is it?
Giddy blog, don't start.
Giddy blog.
Then I don't know anything about that, okay? Giddy blog, and that's about it. Wanyana ko blog L. I don't know, had a typical normal upbringing. I think I went to an old girls convent school. Can you imagine?
Wow. Okay, that explains a few of my questions.
So Christianity and religion is deep rooted in me, you know. and what else? Went to a normal convent school, high school. I went to TET, did my biomed, and microning drapa, hey, like everybody else, for real. I think it's the reason I lost out on my cum laude is because of microbiology. And that's what makes me different from other people, because of something that pushes me down is what motivates me, because I was like, hell
no, Macro is not going to do that to me.
Hell no. So that's why I ended up actually specializing in microbiology. So then graduated in 2008, and then I said no more school because school is exhausting. And then I ended up doing my BTech in pharmaceutical sciences, and then I said no more school, But that's how it is. You leave the books, you miss it. You leave the books, you miss it. And that's just why I sort of into training.
Oh, wow.
Because I feel that I want to be the type of person that I needed when I was just trying to find myself in the medical technology world, basically.
So you definitely are an answer to a lot of people right now who we do struggle quite a lot with microbiology in the undergraduate stages, and I really hope that there is a change for those that came after us, because at that time we really struggled. Now I don't really understand. Do you maybe know why we struggled so much with microbiology?
I don't know why it just does not go in. It doesn't. And I thought either you're a microbiology person or you're not, but that's not true, because if that was the case, then nobody would be a microbiology person at all, So I think it's just about people trying to conquer things that they do not understand, or giving up on things that they don't understand. So that's what the direction that I took, to sort of try and understand it, and it's becoming my life, and that's how I conquered it, I guess. So people should not be deterred or discouraged by failure or the lack of a super high performance in anything, but to actually be motivated by things that we cannot try and overcome. It becomes easier when you start living the life, If you're not a good swimmer, you need to get back into the water, type of thing.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's such a great story that, the subject a lot of us are complaining about, and I expected you to say, you know what, you all might have struggled, but I was nailing it from the get-go. I thought that was the story here.
Hell no. I hated it just like everybody hated it, Yeah, so that's just it's just literally about deciding to choose a path,
Yeah. And what are you doing differently, if I may ask, to train it in a way that makes it interesting, that makes people now enjoy micro? Because for me, the change happened and the switch happened when I went into the lab and I could actually see these gram positives and these gram negatives. Because at that time, when it's theory and it's on a book, it didn't make sense. I don't know whether there was a lack in there or what. So how are you training it today?
Disconnect. If you can't explain something the way you would explain it to a 5-year-old, I feel like then you don't understand it yourself. I mean, if I take a textbook and I just read it out, it's very easy for people to understand, and most of them not to understand. So it's about really breaking down the language, first of all, because there's a lot of medical and microbiology jargon with so many names for so many different organisms, and it feels like it can never be understood. But if things can be broken down to a level of even a 5-year-old just for a mere explanation, then it becomes easy. I mean, it was hard. It's very hard in training, because some of the people are technicians, and, then they don't have a medical background at all.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oops. I think we've just lost our caller because something else came in here. There we go. All right. Yes, we are back. I think we just lost you there. There was a call that came in and absolutely interrupted. But,
oh my goodness.
So let's carry on.
But I always say,
Yes, please continue.
Okay, so as I was saying, it's really about breaking things down to a very, very basic level. The language, you understand it as time goes on. I mean, if I come in and I talk about Pseudomonas, Salmonella, or Morganella, to somebody who has no idea what it is.
What you're talking
about,
yes.
Yeah. then it becomes difficult. But if you start step by step, I mean, then it becomes easier because the foundation becomes solid. And the language, you can only learn it when you're in Rome, you know?
Yeah.
So when you're in the environment, then you start learning the language. But the principles always remain the same. So it's about breaking down the principles. And I think micro is for everybody. I mean, it's a big part of our life, our ordinary, everyday life, you know. Organisms are everywhere. We inhale, exhale. There's no more flora everywhere, you know. So it's just about making it very practical and making it understandable to people who don't, in layman's terms, I guess.
Yeah. So, Rhulani, we have here in our audience a mixture of medical technologists and other people who are ordinary people who have no idea what microbiology is. So if you can just tell us what it is. I mean, you are here, we are talking about microbiology, and people are like, what is that?
Okay, microbiology is actually the study of microorganisms. Microorganisms are organisms that cannot be seen with the naked eye. So in layman's terms, people think they call it germs. I don't like saying that, but it's the easiest way to explain something. Yeah.
I like the advert.
First of all, the grams and the ads are wrong, but we'll talk about that another day.
Oh my goodness. Are they wrong? I have not
wrong.
even taken note of that.
Yeah.
So okay, so just school us a little bit so the next time we see the ad it makes sense. So what are we seeing?
I shut my eye down completely, and every time somebody wants to draw a bacteria, it's always this monster that is ridiculous. But you know, if you're gonna try and make it comic and try and keep it as a cartoon, it's fine. The principle is the same, that there's bacteria and you don't want it there. That's it. Yeah.
Oh wow. So are you guys just doing bacteria, or are you actually mixed together with these virology guys
No. It's strictly bacteria.
Strictly bacteria
so
and fungi. Fungi is definitely part of your department. So what tests do you guys do in microbiology?
Okay, so basically what we do is just get a specimen or whatever the doctor has requested the patient to present for the laboratory. So what we do is just check.
Oh wow! Before you even go on and so RT Inspiration says well understood. So I'm glad. This is a microbiologist technical trainer. So I would be completely surprised if her explanations, which she says she always explains to the level of someone who is 5. I mean, if you can explain it to a 5-year-old and they can understand, then that definitely.
Then you're good to go.
Then you're good to go. So we absolutely appreciate that. So RT, thank you so much.
Glad.
Yeah. Wow. So basically you were telling us what tests you guys do in microbiology.
Okay. So there's a huge array of tests that we do in micro, but basically what we do is get a sample. So a sample, everything that we do test is human sample, okay? So whether it's a sputum or it's stool or it's a urine or a tissue or hair or nail or semen or a vaginal swab or an ear swab, whatever that we get from the patient, we bring into micro and check it under a microscope, just to see that what we have is normal or abnormal. So if it's abnormal, it obviously becomes the cause or the reason of your illness. Okay? And then after that microscope check, then we culture it. Culture it means that we give it food for it to be able to grow, for us to be able to see it with our naked eye, to be able to isolate it. So if we isolate it, it means the pathogen is picked up from the culture plate so that it can be identified. Obviously, if you get an ID, then you are able to do what we call sensitivity. So basically, that's just running it over a few antibiotics so that we'll be able to tell the doctor what works and what doesn't work for a particular patient. So most people, if you've got an illness, say you've got flu and the doctor actually decided to get a sputum from you, and then your mother is taking the medication or whatever, then the next week you feel ill and you want to take the same medication, it really does not work because people are very different. So there's broad spectrum antibiotics which generally works in the population, and then there's some that are very specific for that particular patient. So we get the specimen, we culture it, and then we send blood sensitivity. That's all that micro does. So obviously there's different tests for different specimens and different ways to identify those bacteria, but that's generally what happens in a microbiology laboratory.
Amazing. So, I mean, I heard the whole story, but I'm wondering, when you present to your doctor with symptoms and signs and symptoms, whatever it is, what exactly would tell the doctor to say this one must go to micro? Like, where is the distinction between what goes to chemistry, hematology, micro, and, you know, how does a sample end up in micro?
Okay, it's that's why people need to be very specific. Okay, and people also need to know the difference between a sign and a symptom. Because if you're talking about a sign, you're talking about something that the doctor can tell. You know, everybody can see the sign. You've got a rash or your urine burns or whatever. But if it's a symptom, then, then you have things like temperature or, that can be measured and things like that. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, anyway, so basically what the symptoms is what you feel, and you need to tell the doctor that this is how I feel. I feel fatigued, I feel tired, I feel nauseous,
I feel... cannot see that you are 39 degrees, you know? So it'll be fever and things like that. Yeah. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So what ends up happening for a specimen to end up in micro usually is because the doctor also has no idea. So the most boring part is that a lot of people, when they have no idea what to do, they just take everything to micro because our basic tests are NP and A.
I thought everything went to chemistry if they're not sure.
Everything goes to micro. No way. Everything ends up going in microbiology, which is so exhausting because all the locked stuff goes there, whether they have the right, whether they've got formalin or not. And if something has formalin, obviously you can't process it, but all the wrong stuff turns into micro first before they go to the right place. So if for something to end up in micro, it's because the doctor wants to know bacteria or fungal culture on it. So if it's something on a virus, then unfortunately it's not a micro test.
It has to go somewhere else.
Luckily now the corona, which is a virus, so we are not under part of the team that is handling the COVID madness.
All right. So you guys got really lucky. So Gloria says, "Oh no, poor micro." Yeah, it's sad for them to get all these samples that no one knows where they're going to. Do you guys at least get clinical data, so clinical information about the patients, like what is the doctor suspecting? Do you at least have some form of light and direction? I know not all of them will probably do that, but do you at least have some?
We get some, but it really does not make a big difference in our lab because we don't work with ranges, like saying for neonate or for a baby, this is the range, or for older people, this is the range. We don't have anything like that. If you've got a pathogen in your urine, then you have a pathogen in your urine. That is it. Whether you're old, young, it need not be there, you know? But of course, there's a bit of gray areas because we'll sometimes think, okay, we see this in this patient. Is it normal? Is it not normal? If we see urine in a female urine, then we don't get worried because we're like, okay, we know what you did, girl.
Yeah.
But, it's just things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys get all sorts of things in there. I mean,
we get very weird, disgusting, and very interesting things in micro.
I think almost everything in micro is very borderline disgusting. I mean,
I know that's true. Because all of them have a smell.
No, I mean you have to. Do you still like smell stuff? Do you? I mean,
of course. I mean, stool specimens are done in an openish environment. There's extraction fans, but obviously you will get to smell it, and you get disgusted before you can even start smelling it. By the look, sputum is not something that's nice to handle, you know.
Yeah. Jeez. So basically, sputum is what you would get, like that sample when. How do you explain it? Like, how do you explain sputum? I'm like,
you know, when it comes from your chest and you're coughing and it comes from the chest deep within, that is a good sputum.
That is a good, because you do get really bad sputums, specimens also. It's
like
mainly
like
saliva.
That counts as a bad sputum, yes.
So you basically would train people on, what a good specimen looks like. And think Lee here says microbiology is very interesting. So are you also a microbiologist? Please just put in the comment there what your specialty is, so we can see who. So here's a question, or is it a comment? Let me just read. Hi, Rhulani, with the rapid innovation coming in the lab, how does the training department keep up with teaching interns biochemical reactions of these bacteria? I remember during my training. So definitely there's a lot of, so Sink Lee is clinical pathology. So you are with me, girl. Are we together on that one? So basically the question is, Rhulani, you guys, with the rapid innovations coming in the lab, how does the training department keep up with the teaching of the interns with these biochemical reactions of the bacteria? Because it probably looks like, printed material.
Exactly. It looks like you're
and so
to
finish off her question, she's saying we were using the Vitek, and it would get too confusing to relate the theory and the machine data. So how do you deal with that, Rhulani?
Okay, so the world of microbiology is becoming very automated, which is unbelievable, because you'd think you'd always have the culture plates in your hands, you'd always run, and then you'd drop them, and then you'd have to run a whole lot of trays just to get an ID. Okay, so the balance between what's really happening in the main lab and what's happening in the classes, because remember, our students are becoming they are in the process of writing their board exams. Okay, so we have a whole syllabus that we need to try and transfer the information, but also keeping the current work that's going on in the laboratory, because you don't want to study things that you're not going to see in the lab, and you don't want to just get things in the lab that you won't actually find in your exam. So the exams actually always try to maintain to the recent research and research ways that are actually working in the laboratory. So the people facing their papers also have to have a balance. But we cannot teach people how to press a machine without actually explaining what the machine does. We have the machine to do all that job that we don't need to do, but you also need to understand what all that job is, which is the balance that we always try to maintain as a training department. So what we do is you have access to all the information that you need to know. But there are, for example, basic things. We always maintain the basics. You'll need to know the gram. And if you know the gram, you need to classify. Then you need to know the shape. And if you know the shape, then you can decide to do different tests, like a spot indole or whatever it is. Because right now, you can take a colony and put it in a machine and you have an ID. But this is very recent information. We have actually a whole machine. I think we have one of the machines in the world, not in the world, but in the country, we're the only laboratory that has a machine, but we'll get into it another time. So
which machine is that? Because there is another question from Gloria, and she says, hi, Rhulani, are you happy with the multi-TOF instrument? I hope I said it right. So so what is that? So school us a little bit. I'm like, guys, I'm chemistry and I have no idea what these multi-TOF things are. So please school us.
Okay, multi-TOF IDs your organism, and it works on a target plate. So it looks like a fridge, like a normal fridge in the household. It looks like that. And you see where you dispense the water is actually where you put in your target plate. So you literally take a colony and put it on a metal target plate. There's metal ones, and then there's disposable ones. So the metal ones are nice because you can clean it up and use it again and again and again. But you take a colony and you put it on a target plate, put it in the machine, and it gives you an ID. So the machine has a whole library full of what the organism could be, and it's usually 80% or 90% right. Depending on the lab, you decide at what percentage can you accept the ID. But it's good. We love it. We have it. It works great because you can have an ID in less than 2 minutes compared to in the API days when you had to put a tray and wait for 18 to 24 hours for you to decide what organism it is. So we're just moving with the times, and that's it. I'm happy with the Maldi, actually. Happy with the Maldi, happy with the Vitek. One leans on the other. We used to always have to compare, but I guess with all these industries, with the companies are trying to to come up
step
with
up
new
and
machines,
So what's the difference between the Moldy Top and the Vitek? Do they do the same thing? What's that?
advantage of a multi over a Vitek is that you get your ID in less than 2 minutes. With a Vitek, you take a bit longer. You can get your ID the following day, but the thing is, you also get your sensitivity as well the following day. You can just co-run on the Vitek. Yeah.
Okay, so the Moldy, do you get the sensitivity also?
No, you will have to do your sensitivity manually.
Manually. And then those ones with the blood, these little blood bottles, what do you call those? Blood cultures?
Yes.
Those are, where do you do those?
Those go into a machine that is basically like an incubator. So the blood culture bottles are basically like an agar. Not an agar, like the fluid in the blood culture bottle is actually a vial. So it's a gross medium. So when it's flag positive, it just says there's something in there. It doesn't tell you what. And that's when you have to take another day to try an IV and plate and culture and all of that. So the blood culture bottles just check whether you have septicemia or you have something in your bloodstream. So when it's flagged positive, it just says there is something. So there are blood cultures, and the blood culture machine blood culture machine is basically an incubator for the blood culture.
Great. So Gloria says, I actually love the multi-TOV, especially because I'm virology specialist and I'm in microbiology EQA. And then Singh says, I prefer the Vitek though. So definitely there's like some interesting...
Then you still have to try and get them fallen right. And it's just a whole... Oh my gosh, but yeah, it's a good machine. I mean, I can't compare it to anything
why do you
else.
prefer the Vitek? If you can just put it in there in the comments so we can see why you prefer the Vitek. So basically, there's no advertisements here for any one of these suppliers or anything. This is not a paid ad or anything like that. So this is just us discussing, and this is a training part of the analyzers, what they do and how they work. There's definitely no form of sponsorship here for any one of these companies, just to put it out there. Gloria laughs. I have to put my disclaimers on there. Definitely. So, you know what? So right now I've seen... just to explain to them, so we're talking about ID. So ID is basically identifying the type of bacteria that is growing either in your blood or anywhere else on the specimens that have been collected from you, whether it was TB that they need to grow. Do you maybe want to just share a little bit with the people on here how you guys test for TB quickly?
I hate TB, but okay.
And TB is what? It's a level or something.
It is the most boring field ever. But there are people who love TB.
Yeah.
So we have a separate TB section or a TB site. So we throw them in TB. That's it.
TB people.
TB people handle this, But of course we give classes for our students about TB because it's part of micro. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So now let's move back to you as a technical trainer. How did you become a technical trainer? I mean, this is one thing we've all been waiting for. How did you become a technical trainer? And, what steps did you take to prepare yourself? How long were you in the lab before you became a technical trainer? And what was the whole process from, you deciding you want to be there? So Gloria says, I hate TB too. So it looks like...
Nobody likes TB.
I think we need to get somebody from TB to just be on here. Wow, you guys. So I actually have not worked with TB. The only time I went into TB was when I was doing my rotation as a student. So I'm like...
And that was it.
That was it. I was like, okay, this is enough for me. Like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's one of those fields. And I mean, it's really... The level of safety in there is required to be obviously at a much higher level. You have to be protected, have all those... extractors in there, so not anyone can walk in and out of a TB lab, just so you guys know. And definitely anyone that walks in there has to be super protected. So we are protected, we are safe for those that are working with TB, because you don't want to have our medical technologists infected also. So absolutely. And Simply is just laughing. So let's talk about you. Back to you, Ru. How did you become a technical trainer?
Okay, so I obviously started off as a student as well. Student, and I wrote my board exam and was a qualified microbiology medical technologist. Then I became a senior later in the years. And then I never actually thought of technical training. Although when I was in the lab, I used to always train because obviously we
as a
always have
senior
new
also,
staff, you know. There's always new staff. There's always students passing by or whatever. So I always liked to train. I just loved it.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, I've been in technical training for 2 years. So 2 years ago, there was a post for a technical trainer, and I'm like, this looks interesting. And I've been training. Maybe I should try for it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I applied for it as a senior now at that point, and then I had to go through an interview, and the interview also wanted me to do a presentation. I mean, you can hear I speak my mind all the time. So that's for me. You know, it's like, you guys want me to perform, I will perform for you, you know? But anyway, so I did, actually, my presentation was on the Maudi dough, which is a coincidence, yeah. The Maudi, I had to present about
Oh, you presented on the Maudi, which is what you're talking about just now.
Exactly.
That's just, oh, wow.
So that went well. So obviously, I had to have a little bit of research because when you're in the laboratory, we like work like trained monkeys. You press here, you jump here, and that's about it, you know. So I had to go behind in the principles and how the machine works and deeper information that is not really necessary in the day-to-day workings of the lab. But yeah, and then I got the post, and then I loved it. But the problem with training is that I had a misconception that I would just train as a trainer. But there is so much admin that goes into training, especially for students that are just about to write their board. There's a lot of admin and there's a lot of pressure as to make sure that they know what they should know, you know. So it is always a reflection on the trainer how the student performs, you know. So it's a bit of pressure and a lot of admin. But generally, it's nice because you get to meet a whole lot of different characters. So every day is a brand new day in training.
Wow, that is super, super amazing. So how many years were you as a technologist, and then how many years as a senior before you could actually transition?
I think, I mean, this career spans for how long now? For 12, almost 13 years now, I think. And that's 2 years ago, I was a senior. I think I was a senior for about 3 years before I became a trainer.
Sure.
Yeah. So
you've been in there a long time. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these young ones coming in and becoming seniors in like a couple of months into the I mean, so it differs definitely from person to person. Some people do get in to move up the ladder a lot quicker, and others, I was saying the other day, I'm like, someone has to die before you move up. And you know, it was just
really
like
just does depend on where you land up, you know, because some of the people that used to just be normal techs, not even senior, some are managers in other areas, you know. So it really just depends on what the environment requires and if you're actually willing to step up. Because I was in a different company that I'm with now before, because I was always working in the lab. Then as a senior, in between being a senior then, and I went to a different company. And then when the technical training post appeared in the company that I'm with now, which is the previous one I was with, then I came back to the company. And when I came back, people had the impression that I came back for the post, or I was poached or headhunted.
Headhunted. You know, that, like they said, the training department apparently always knows who they want in those positions. Is that correct?
And I had zero idea. Remember, I applied for it as an external applicant at that point, you know. So people internally were furious with me, and I didn't know why. But so sometimes it really just depends from person to person.
Sometimes they do get furious. I mean, I can totally relate with you, Rhulani, because I myself was a technical trainer. For me, it was with chemical pathology. And, you know, I came in and there were already people and seniors in that lab already. So I moved from a satellite stat lab into a main lab, and where there were already seniors there were already people who probably could train, and they didn't apply.
They didn't.
And I applied and I got the job, and
they're angry at you.
They're angry at you. They don't want to show you the things. I mean, I struggled so much coming into a new lab as a technical trainer. And did you find it easier for yourself because you had already worked in that department?
Yeah, it was easier for that because I knew the people, I knew the ways, I knew the culture, so I could easily adapt into it. And but the people having an attitude did not even. I only found out months into it that it was a big thing. Apparently, internally, it was advertised for a long time. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I found the transition very easy. It's just that in the training, it becomes a shock as to how much in depth it needs to be. You always have to have a good day in training, basically, which is impossible, you know. And sometimes it's very hard to train adults because they are adults, even though they're students, they are adults, and you can't tell an adult, "Are you stupid?" like you're talking to a child, because they hold grudges, and it needs a special.
I think you yourself have to train yourself to learn to deal with those things. And Gloria says, yeah, I feel you in terms of culture. Definitely. I mean, it's something that a lot of us do experience, that you're now moving into an environment where, and people sometimes were okay with you being on the same level, and now suddenly you are a job grade higher. How did you handle that?
Yeah. Actually, I told them that it's just a job grade, and it really does not necessarily mean it's more money, even if it was more money for.
I've been told, between you and Gloria, I've been told you are also one of these highest paid medical technologists. Rhulani, how true is that?
I don't know why people think I earn more than the average medtech. I'm part of the sinking boat of medtech who are underpaid and overworked.
Yeah.
That's basically how it is. I think people think I have special treatment. I don't understand where this comes from, you know. And it's a female-dominated area, so it's not even like, okay, she's dating, I don't know who
the big boss up there.
You know, it is just girls all over, and I'm into boys. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not into girls. But still, I don't know why people have the protection, because maybe because I'm always happy, and even if I have struggles, I don't go around saying, "Oh my God,"
and Gloria also says, "Oh, Leah, you are crazy." So I've just spotted two of the most highest paid medical technologists, guys. So it looks like you have to be crazy enough to get paid. I'm crazy, but I'm not one of the ones that are getting highly paid.
I think people just need to speak for themselves, and people need to also not be scared of change. I mean, unfortunately, that's how it is in our industry. For you to be able to up your package, you need to move around a bit, you know. But also, your moving must not be careless, because otherwise, you've been everywhere. You know, a friend to everybody is actually nobody's friend. So you need to know where home is. But you must also be able to hop a bit, you know, just broaden the horizon, see what's out there. And that's unfortunately how you up your package as a medtech.
So what are the requirements to be a technical trainer? What are they looking for? What is the description or the job scope like? What are they looking for you to be a technical trainer?
Okay, so you need to obviously have been in the field for 4 or more years, but I think you need to have been 4 or 5 years as a senior would be, for me, what would make sense, because not only do you just have to know about the work, but you must also be able to stick with the train. I think a good trainer is somebody who's not too old, because old people are set in old habits and don't want to adapt, and somebody who's not too young, because too young unfortunately comes with not really knowing a lot, doesn't come with experience. So I think a technical trainer basically is just an experience.
It must be somewhere bang in the middle.
An experienced technologist, a good technologist. You know, doesn't necessarily have to be a senior, because unfortunately that comes with wherever you are. And a person who's very good with admin, and a person who's good with people, and a person who's well organized, because you need to structure your life completely, you know. And a patient person. I'm not the most patient person, but somehow I'm a trainer, so that works.
So Gloria says, big ups, Rhulani, not being scared of change is very important. I mean, it's really important. A lot of people are scared of change. They do want to change, and they want to move to like next levels, but they get scared. And I think the most important thing for me is psych. Your psychology is so important. Who you hang around with, who your friends are, what you guys talk about. Are you actually encouraging each other to move up to that next level? I mean, for me, I think I was very fortunate to have friends around me, and I don't know if they picked me or I picked them, but I happened to have, we found each other and we push each other. I don't think there's anyone that was in my circle that I could say is left behind, because we all sort of pulled each other up and we all did what we had to do to move up. We are not all where we want to be. I think a lot of us are just a lot humble, but we pushed each other. We didn't pull each other down. We didn't say, hi man, you really think, the conversation where you could say, you even scared to say, but I want to be a trainer. And the friends that you have are not going to be those ones that say, go for it. Someone will just say, that post already has a name on it. So if you have those kind of people around you, I can tell you one thing. If you are here and you are watching or you're listening, get rid of them. You can keep them as friends on the side, but you have to now change your circle. If you can change the 5 people you have around you right now, if you can't find them, get new friends. There's social media. You get to meet people in the lab, suss them out, see who they are. There's a lot of people on this chat right now. This is a whole community. When you find someone here, go and follow them, go and talk to them, go and join them, because this is a group of people that are into the same thing. Someone who's not on here, I put up a post earlier to say, I'm going to share everything about myself and my business, and if you're not interested, you can unfollow me. It was almost weird when somebody unfollowed me. I was like, that's rude, But you know what? I liked it because it meant that I'm sifting out all the people that are not supposed to be in there, and I'm only having a tribe that is supporting me and pushing me and saying, you girl, we need this message. And so if you go onto our feeds and go check those people that are commenting and see the ones that you like and you have a nice vibe with, and go and be friends with them. You can even take your friendship off of social media, and you never know where you find. There's no recipe for friendship. There's no recipe for relationships. We all start friendships in very weird ways, So I think this is also, definitely,
But also people need to remember that they must always remember why they started, why they're there in the first place, because people cannot support what they don't understand. I can't expect people to just support me and help me and push me if I actually don't even know where I'm going or what my aim is, We just have people to sort of guide us, but we must also be willing to always go an extra mile, And I think having friends in the same kind of environment, we settle and get comfortable in nothingness. So people need to explore other avenues, because unfortunately people think you study medtech, you are in the lab. That's it. There's no in between. People branch off and become consultants for clinics and consultants for hospitals. All these new careers that are popping up. So people always need to be on the lookout and actually find themselves before blaming people for not supporting their growth,
And thank you for that. We always want to know. We're always talking about options. So if you can just explain more on what other options are there. So some of them want to be technical trainers, but what other options are there, Rhulani?
As a medtech, right?
As a medtech.
People just think that's it. Because actually becoming a trainer is not inevitable for everybody. Because when I started, I never thought I'd land up in technical training. Actually, my biggest path that I wanted to go into was into pharmaceutical sales. But I didn't know how to actually go there. And sometimes, even though I'm such a big personality, I was kind of scared. But I think I'm wrapping up why I did pharmaceutical science and why I did medical technology, just to groom me into being a in the diagnostic field, but just as a rep or as a specialist for such things. I think if you are happy with just waking up and working a shift, then that's a sad life. You can become a consultant in a clinic. You can become, you can go into sales. You can become into managing these suppliers even. You can become a rep. There are so many options for a medtech. I think the culture of a medtech should phase out older people, but also phase them out into something else, and not just becoming sitting on a bench forever. Who wants to live like that? That is horrible.
So we're really grateful that there's options out there for those who want to move out of the lab. But hey, Ru, somebody has to stay in the lab, otherwise the labs will close down.
Yeah, there's always new
So we
there's always
definitely
new
still
people.
need
There's
some
always
people
new
to
people
stay
who have
in
the
the lab.
energy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, this has been absolutely an amazing journey for us, and
I had so
you
much fun. My
know,
goodness.
this was so much fun, and I mean, it's amazing. So my story as a technical trainer, and Lindiwe is laughing her lungs out. So I also became a technical trainer. My story is slightly different from that of Rhulani's. I basically started off as a technologist, a learner technologist, and literally I worked for about a year or two, and as I was training and lecturing at TUT doing chemical pathology board exam preps, I then immediately went into technical training. So I skipped actually the senior position thing.
You
I
see?
never became a senior.
You see,
I'm like, it's missing on my post.
Path. You know, it's not cast in stone to you for a route to follow.
So Gloria says the new technologists will keep coming and they will stay
will.
in the lab.
They will.
Yeah, but they
really
still need someone to train them. So definitely someone who's, as we move up and we make space for each other. I always say, you know, the reason I always loved training, and I always trained anyone that came in my path, I'm like, I'm selfishly training you. So when I have to move to my next step, they don't say no, but you can't because we still need you. I'm like, well, I already trained someone else for you. Here
Somebody
she is,
must take
trained and
over.
ready. I'm gone. Bye. You know, that was for me. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to, because, you know, the first thing I realized in the lab is that you need to find, and I think we're going to have a whole lab about this where we just talk about how do you make yourself stand out in the lab so that you can move on to other positions. I mean, I did things like material management, where I counted stock, and that for me looked, it was horrible. I would be in the fridge freezing in the walk-in
the
freezer,
whole day,
counting the
trying
stock,
to unpack stuff.
unpacking and finding out. And the nice thing about that is I got to know things like how many tests are we running of this particular assay. So if we running 400 TSHs, so then I need to order 400 tests or 500, including the calibrators and controls. So that teaches you quite a lot of things. When you move into an account management position, which is what I was doing, there is another already an episode that I did already on sales and account management. You'll find it on YouTube at Leah M. Mulai. So already I went through how you can become sales and account management as a medical technologist. I mean, small things like that make yourself stand out. I chose specifically you know, working on the microscopy for me in hematology is where, as a morphologist, I decided I'm gonna nail that. I didn't know how to do it, but I decided somebody, if they need to see what's on the slide, they're not sure whether it's a lymphocyte or a monocyte, they must just be like, hey Leah, come through. But then I realized that actually took away from what I wanted to do, because I'm always running around going to check other people's slides while my work stays behind. So the easiest thing for me was to teach them in such a way that I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you, and don't call me again, okay?
Yeah.
So I teach in a way that I'm like, I'm going to teach you in a way that you don't need to call me again. I'm going to make sure that you become self-reliant, because when you are self-reliant, you actually are a monkey off my shoulder, because then I don't need to have you call me all the time. So I do that now, even today with my customers. When I have to do any form of QC troubleshooting with them, I also take it as an opportunity to share my knowledge and to learn from them how they are doing things. And then lab says, true that, Leah, comfort on one zone is imprisonment. We need to continuously improve ourselves. Absolutely. We get so comfortable, Ru. So what is your message, Rhulani, for people that are just comfortable? They don't know how to move from where they are. They're feeling stuck. What is it that they need to do to step out of that comfort zone and move into the next thing?
If you can remember why you started, there is no way you will end up being stuck. If you decide where you want to go, then the only thing for you to do is to build a path. If you don't know where you're going to go, then you end up, that's where you get stuck, because you literally don't know where to go, because you have no goal set for yourself. So set a goal for yourself and always remind yourself why you started. So when you start lazing off and taking shortcuts, you're like, but I'm only killing myself here. So remember why you started. Or you would have to first decide why you started before you can remember it. So have a goal. have a goal,
have a goal,
and remember why you started.
Remember why you started. That is the absolute message for today. And before we wrap up, I just, you are that lady that always takes care of herself. The spa treatments, the manicures, the amazing wine. So why is that so important? I mean, I remember telling one medical technologist, I'm like, you need to pamper yourself, honey. I even said to them, no advertisement for Hyperly, which used to be Groupon, but Hyperly has such amazing discounts that you can get a spa treatment and manicure and all of those things at a discount price. So you can definitely check them out. Absolutely not sponsored at all. I actually need to find them and charge them. But Drew, why is it so important for you to be able to do that for yourself, and how is it that important for someone else to do?
Listen, if you get that feeling of when you feel good, you look good. When you look good, you feel good. Actually, right? But you need to, so it goes hand in hand. I only do it for myself, for my own selfish reasons, because the other day I was asking somebody who was complaining about not having the opportunity to go, and I don't know, whatever they're complaining about because of the lockdown. And then I said, why do you do this? This is so useless. And they're like, why do you go and get your nails done? I was so traumatized by that because I felt like it was an unfair comparison. But I realized I do it for myself. When you feel awesome, then you really generally change your day. So I love my nails and my hair done, and this lockdown did not improve how I do my eyebrows, but I'll get that sorted out, but I just do it for my own selfish reasons of just literally feeling good. That's it. It is just a pamper me session for just pampering myself. That's it, really.
Zaria says, I couldn't agree more. If you look good, you feel good. I think we all know how amazing Gloria also looks. And then Rhulani is... Okay, I think we've just learned two secrets here. If you want to improve your salary as a medical technologist, be crazy, look good, be smart, and do either microbiology or virology, and you have to love this mullet. What is this? This mullet toffee. What is it? Oh my goodness, you guys. So we've definitely have some lessons, and you have to love your nails and hair and look good. I think that's definitely something that we've picked up. I mean, it's really one of those things. As medical technologists, we know you can walk into the lab in your jeans and your sneakers and whatever, but that doesn't mean you have to look sloppy. It's like when you dress up and you look good, people look at you like, are you going to an interview? Are you going to a date after this? People wonder why you look so good. Why do you not have to look good in the lab?
So people are used to rocking up in their leggings or whatever, So it's a bad habit that we've gotten accustomed to, that if somebody looks good, they're going to an interview. So when you always look good and you do actually go to an interview, it won't face anybody. So
no one is gonna suspect anything. You just go to your interview and come back.
Look good.
So it's definitely something. I mean, I learned very early on, and Lappy's laughing her lungs out. I mean, I learned my mother was so disappointed when she learned that everybody in the lab wears jeans, and I'm like, this is what we wear. And she literally dragged me to the shops, and she bought me formal clothing. I was like the only one that was like dressed like formally as a student. And then listen, this one presentation, guys. So Lepi says presentation, and Lindua says your high heels, Leah. You always have been a problem. I'm just like, I'm one of those. I love my high heels. I know they're not entirely allowed in the laboratory, but I've just been like that person. Gloria, I think it's all your fault. And now, Ru, like Gloria was just such an influence on me in terms of how I looked, how I dressed.
I mean, even the students, I'm like, where's your lipstick? Are you sick?
Lipstick?
So now when they don't have lipstick, I always assume they're sick, and now they always do. I'm like trying to set the new generation of technologists into the world looking brighter and happier and just generally good looking.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, today, like, if I walk into the lab and I'm not wearing my heels, people are like,
what's wrong?
Like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Like, people get concerned and they really want to know, is everything okay? Like, like, hi, wear your heels. I'm like, guys, I just thought let me just
Normalize
wear
it.
something. They're like, no, we like you in your heels. It used to be a problem before. I used to get into so much trouble. And one of my managers said to me, if you fall, I'm not
Don't
going to
blame
have
us.
this as a health and safety thing. And I'm like, I always trip and fall in my flatties, but I never trip and fall in my high heels. And I never, ever, ever. I've never tripped and never, not in my heels. I trip quite a lot, funny enough, when I'm wearing flat shoes because I'm not used to the sloppiness of the flat shoes. And then Gloria says, oh, yes, let's do this. Hashtag Team High Heels. We are definitely going to start this hashtag Team High Heels. We're going to take it far, Gloria. Thank you. This is an amazing thing. We'll probably do one of those. We'll steal the jacaranda heel type of. So we'll have like a nice
For Medtex.
for Medtex, and we get the hashtag high heels. We'll probably run for. I mean, yesterday we had an amazing women on the show. We had Mpo, and she does all sorts of charity work, and maybe we can actually do a fun walk in high heels, and we can find a way to donate. And I think this is just such an amazing thing. So let's work on it and see. We can definitely walk in our high heels and donate for a very good cause. So let's put our heads together. We are
a cause ourselves.
We are a cause ourselves. I mean, this is truly, truly amazing. So let's definitely do this. A lot of ladies on here. The guys, you are more than welcome to join in. This does not just have to be us, but you can definitely support. And I think this has just been amazing, man. So Rhulani, oh my goodness, thank you so, so much. What is your final message for our people?
My final message is that being a medical technologist is not doomed. Okay? Remember why you started, and I promise you'll be successful in it. That's it.
What's next for you, Ru? What I know you like leveling up levels. What's next for you? What are you looking at?
I'm looking into changing my title very soon, but everything is still in negotiation phases right now. So let me get that sorted so that we keep the traffic moving in this corridor of medtech. I'm just trying to move and make room for others. So I'm in talks right now. So fingers crossed, everything works out, and I'll reveal it all in due time.
Absolutely, that is amazing. We are so proud of you, Ru, and I really love that. We really need to keep moving and make space for others. If we just get stuck in one position, no one else can come into the position that we are at. So I mean, if you just stay there, we were talking about technical trainers just the other day, that they do stay on for a very long time in their positions. They've been there for years.
Because there's nowhere else to go in the laboratory. There's nothing else. So
please move out, make space, and move out to other things where your knowledge can still be used, whether it's diagnostics, whether it's consulting, whatever it is. Move. We're not kicking you out. We're just saying move to a better place so someone else can move to a better place. But just before you go, I mean, you are now trying to get into a new place. Just, if somebody wants to do that, I mean, what's the message? How did you get in? Because I feel like people apply once and they give up, and people send one CV on a LinkedIn or an Indeed profile or job post, and they stop there and they expect things to happen. Like, there's so much more. You have to push. If you have to send 20 applications a day, do it because you want to move out. But what did you do to land yourself into a position where you are now currently negotiating to change your title?
Girl, persistence, persistence, prayer, persistence, I think literally this is the 18th thing I applied for, or probably lost count as to how many things I applied for trying to get into this particular field, in inverted commas. So persistence. If you really want something, you really never get tired of it. I mean, if you do one sit-up, you're not going to get your six-pack, is it? So
and definitely you are a gym girl. I mean,
yes, I am.
You are all about fitness. So definitely this is going to work. We can even have a gym challenge. I mean, I personally don't like the gym. I got blessed with really good genes, and if you have good genes and a nice proper gene, you are sorted. I'm like so fortunate when it comes to that. But I do want to keep it up like that, because as you age and you grow older, things don't just metabolize as they used to. So definitely we're gonna really take this challenge far. Hashtag team high heels. Oh my gosh, this is just amazing. So thank you so much. This has been such an educative and informative. I mean, we've learned so much.
So,
And
thank you so much.
thank you so
everybody.
much. Oh my gosh, we're gonna wrap this up. And if you want to catch this, you'll see it on my YouTube, Leah M. Mulai, and you can definitely catch a recap of it on my IGTV here on Instagram at Leah M. Mulai. Quickly, what is your handle? Oh no, you don't have one, Ru. My goodness, I'm gonna wrap this up. Right, no problem. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.